Good evening, everyone, and how are you doing this fine Saturday? Welcome to Grayman Prepping, and we're going to be delving into something here tonight. It's Survival Saturday, and this is one that a lot of you that know about it are looking forward to, and hopefully my guests will show up here. They gave me heads up they might be a little late, but tonight's topic dun, 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 is Survival Garden. All righty, so how's everybody doing out there? Let me pop up here at the top of the chat and welcome everybody on board. Aha! First one was CB, Hugo Homestead. Guess who has jury duty? Bah, ha, 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 ha. An excuse to get out of work and get some things done before winter. Uncle Al came in. He posted it to the community board. Rebel Canners was third. And see who came in next. Shawnee Shave was number 4. MB Heritage Farms. Dioris. Susan Gallet. And everybody's chit-chatting now. Good. Vase Place. Hey, how's it going? Vase Place came over from David Lynn, Prepper Principal. Okay, so we'll probably get some more coming in, and actually it looks like we got a few that are lurking. So for lurkers, I got a special one here. Where is it? There it is. Lurking is fine. Please check in and hit the thumbs up, though. All you need to do is to check in and just say, "Hey, I'm going to be lurking or I'm just going to be listening." You know, that helps me out because on live streams, if you don't do both, leave a comment and give a thumbs up or thumbs down. The AI says, "Oh, this is just a bot. We're not going to count any of the watch time for it." So, go back up here and actually let me change something else back up here down here on the. Let's see here, and of course. You know, thing to remember is that if you help others get prepared, they won't be coming after your supplies and taking them from you and your family. All right, let's get up here where I need to be. All right, and get back here to this. Okay. And Walter Davis came in. Hey, sir, how's it going? All righty, so. Until Howie Food Forest Permaculture was supposed to come in here. Haven't seen him. I sent the email out also to Ron Nettles, the Green Wizard. I think Ron's a little busy right now. But for those that are interested there of the normals, there is the link, and I'm going to pin that up on top there. Okay. All righty. So what is, let me get up, let's go over here first. So what is a survival garden? And that's probably a question a lot of people are going to be going, huh? And, you know, depends who you ask, you're going to get different answers for what a survival garden is. And I was talking with Howie after Fridays over on Camp Pat Family Compound. And basically, we kind of came to the conclusion, you know, the consensus, and this is probably what we were both thinking to begin with anyways. A survival garden is a garden that will allow you to totally survive on it. All right. That said, does it just provide you only what you need? Not necessarily, but we'll get into some of that stuff here as we go along here. So next one here. I dropped the H out. It's where can you grow one, not where can you grow one. Where can you grow one? And like I was saying, anywhere you can plant stuff. city park, back up in the trees, you plant stuff up there. Along a hiking trail, you plant stuff there. You can plant stuff all over the place. And then, of course, there is, of course, your property around your house and stuff. Those are other places you can grow a survival garden. And if you hear thumping going on, it's just either the staff sergeant or my son coming in and out of the door and stuff. They just got here a little over a half hour ago. Things there. Right. And Dustin's in the house. And good point. Yes. Having a little extra to trade or sell, for other goods. So, and we're going to get to that here in a minute, a little bit about it. So, and next little slide here is one of the things people tend to forget most about a survival garden right off the bat is the first thing you should be planting is fruit and nut trees, because it takes a while for them to get established and start producing. And if you have trees in your backyard that are doing nothing but providing shade, you may want to consider replacing them with fruit and nut trees, because they will still give shade and they also give you food. Next one here, root crops. Howie loves root crops because root crops are hidden. You can go in, plant your root crops, and cut back a lot of the leaves and stuff so it doesn't look like much. Hey, Glenn, how's it going? How the garden's in the house? JT Jr. grows it in Alaska. Hey, how's it going? So your root crops, like the Jerusalem artichoke, carrots, onions, garlic, potatoes, radishes, turnips, all those root crops. Most people that get their stuff from the stores have never seen stuff growing. They'll look at stuff and they go, that looks like a weed to me. I ain't going to bother with that. They're not a very good gardener here. Oh, I got to put that one up. And the captain is in the house. Reporting for re-education is ordered, comrade. All right. So there are a lot of root crops that most people don't even know what the tops look like to know what's underneath it. Carrots, they might, because they sell a lot of carrots a lot of times still with the tops on them. But daikon radishes, most people don't know what the heck daikon radish tops look like. And daikon radishes can produce some pretty daggone big roots. And of course, your radishes, your regular red radishes grow quick. Your beets grow fairly quick. There's a lot of small root crops that grow quick, and you can plant a lot of them in an area. Okay, let's see. Next one here. And we'll come back and talk about all this stuff here a little bit more later. Mass producers. All right, guys. Everyone in the side chat, this is the time for you. I want everybody to pick one plant they think is a mass producer and, name that plant in the side chat. And while you're doing that, whoa, Vase Place. Sweet potatoes. They are, what should you say? They don't realize that they are the roots, edible, but also the tops too. Yes, just like dandelions. True, Walter. Let me throw that one up here for everybody to see. I'll pull that one up. Boom. A lot of crops keep growing year after year when left alone. And like Suzanne Glaze says, it depends on the climate too for some crops. Suburban Hillbilly, how are you doing? Welcome. All right, so mass producer, cherry tomatoes. Yes, cherry tomatoes, mass producer. Especially if you get the totally non-determinate ones, they'll just keep going and keep going. Cassava and true yams are easy to grow in the South. Most people have no idea what they look like. Very true. Very true. Tammy says nut trees are mass producers because of the fats and that are the source of fats, same as sunflowers. Exactly. And you, if you saw what happened out in the field across here, I got to go over there one of these times here before they all die off. Around the one water tank over there, the native sunflowers, they're not big, the small ones. I mean, all of a sudden it got so big in sunflowers, I couldn't even find the tank. I had to back in towards it with the brush hog just so I could get a pathway to it so I could check it out. I mean, it was just huge number of, and this was just, there were just a couple last year. This year is lots. Collard greens come back every year. Cool. And see a project of Paul. Welcome, Paul. And Uncle Law says, I can't pronounce. I know I'm going to butcher this. Amaranth. Can't pronounce it right. And Glenn says papaya. Yeah, Glenn has papaya down in his place. All right. And here we go with the climate thing. Collard greens don't come back every year where suburban hillbilly is because it's too hot. So, and if it's not too cold, strawberries keep producing, blackberries keep producing, raspberries keep producing, boysenberries, amaranth. Okay, there we go. We got amaranth. Okay, so you guys know what it is. I don't. I'll have to look that one up here when we're done and see what that one is. One of the mass producers I was thinking about, because they always went totally bonkers crazy over at my mom's, was squash, zucchini. Oh man, zucchini, if you don't keep an eye on them, you get big ones and they just keep producing tons and tons and tons of squash, the zucchini plants, okay? Diora says mulberry tree, it's a mulberry tree or mulberry bush. Figs, another tree, so you got figs, you got mulberries. So there are some plants that, hang on. Good one, Doris. Mulberry is a high in protein for a plant. Cool. Yeah, and zucchini, we never had them come back in California. We had to reseed and replant again. Now, if you left a couple on there by mistake and they, the seeds from that went in the ground, yeah, then they came back. Potatoes is one that keeps coming back, keeps coming back, and it's a root crop. And my wife says she keeps on missing when she's harvesting them. She keeps missing one or two in there, and next thing she knows, there they are again. So, but one of the interesting things is, depending on what you want to have your survival garden supporting, I think this is the last slide. Yeah. Okay, let me go ahead and drop that down. When you talk about squash, we raised patty pan squash. Man, were they prolific. And the cows loved them. And if cows love them, goats are going to love them too. The horses didn't like them too much. And, but I mean, they just, produced a lot. So if you're raising cattle or goats for meat or milk, that's how your survival garden can help for that too. And Tammy says, for the mulberries, birds don't eat the white mulberry like the red. And climate for potatoes. Uncle Al. It's interesting. All right. So here in Idaho, potato heaven, there's, yeah, and we get snow, and the temperatures are dropping right now, and they're pulling out of the ground now. I see trucks going by all the time to the different potato processing plants around here, just loaded with potatoes. But California, San Francisco Bay Area, is where my wife is growing potatoes. And Anthony at Pimento Prepared grows potatoes down there in South of North Carolina. He's in one of the Carolinas. I keep forgetting. I always get mixed up, and I feel like he ain't that big when I get it wrong. So he's down in the Carolinas. And so, and Suburban Hillbilly is right. And from your cows and your goats, you get free fertilizer. Rabbits love, and that was a mass producer I forgot to mention, and you can see some of it right there and right there. Lettuces, spinach, chards, rainbow, Swiss. Thanks, Steve. South Carolina. So I had it right the first time, South Carolina. Hang on, what I said. Okay, here we go. Piece of information, folks. Used to put sheets under the mulberry trees and shake the branches to harvest them. We did the same thing with the almond trees. We put the sheets out, only we would put, had boards we would put around the trunk, and we beat out, just wrap the board, and the whole tree would just shake and boom, come down. Hey, Kathy D, how's it going? Up here in southern Idaho, the rainbow chard I had growing out here in my IBC totes, I was having to cut it every friggin' day. And I would cut it down, so just a little bit, And if I didn't go out the next day, all of a sudden it's like, okay, the rabbits and chickens are going to be happy. Oh, yeah. The chard here went absolutely. In fact, what chard I just planted now, I planted a couple weeks ago here. I mean, that stuff's sticking up about that tall. I was looking out there tonight. It's like, crap! It grew a bunch yesterday, and so in a couple days here, we're gonna have to start harvesting some of it. Fortunately, my wife is here, my son is here, so we'll cook it up. Yeah, I grow in the IBC totes. So my family goes, so it's about it's 40 inches by 48 inches square, and yeah, I just go out there because it was just me. So I go out there and just cut off a couple pieces for me, cook it up, go cut off some more, take a bunch over across the street to my daughter and her family. And if I forgot one time, it was like, okay, taking a whole bunch across the street to my daughter for her family, the chickens, the rabbits over there, and let them have fun over there. Mary Beth Smith is in the house. Woohoo! So if you're planting a survival garden, one of the things I would say of how it was here is you need to make soil for it. Get the good soil. So start making your soil and producing it. So when you're planting it, it grows to its most potential. And if you're in a place like Steve, of course, there are trainers. Check out the videos on his garden. He just moved and he's just getting everything set and he's going, but he's still getting some stuff. If he were to put out there certain mass producers, his place would be overrun. And the thing is, so too, you got to plant what you will eat. Now, one of the things interesting, I did an experiment. I've never planted this plant before. And when I was testing out the soil out here, because we weren't sure when the crop duster went over and sprayed and got the one IBC tote that had the strawberries in it and killed them all, is the soil was bad. So I planted some Grand Rapids lettuce in there. I planted 6 short stuff sunflowers. I planted several rainbow chard, and I planted one, got in there by mistake, endive. It's not just a regular endive. It's a basically it's called Batavang Full Heart Endive. This is it here. Sorry for the green screen, but that's the name of it right there. It's from Baker Creek. Joe, Garden State Gardener, sent this to me, and I'm gonna try. Let me stop the green screen for a second, so you guys can see it here. Okay, that's now see how bushy that looks and everything. Where's my garden? There's my garden. Get my garden back. I planted this, and at first I thought something screwed up. I thought I had a weed because it grew up that tall and then went out flat and looked like a friggin' weed, or like a low dandelion. When you mow the dandelions, instead of growing bushy again, they grow flat. Same thing with a star thistle. You mow it several times and it just grows flat. Well, that's what it looked like until it got about that big around, and then we had these big old leaves out that about that big around and flat. All of a sudden they go up in the middle. So now I got some of this growing up there, and so we may try a little bit of this to see how it tastes for a salad here while my wife is here. Let's see here. Vase Place. Have you checked out? I'm just losing Kaylin Strain. She's been doing her. She's in an apartment as well, and she had her garden is out on her balcony. Unfortunately for her, her balcony is on the north side and has trees around it, but she's still been getting some good stuff growing there. Are you raising quail in your apartment? Because there are several other people that are doing that. Oh yeah, lettuce when left alone when it bolts, it'll put out a lot of seeds. And if the wind's blowing, those seeds will propagate all over the place for you. Yeah, it gets kind of spicy, bittery towards the end there when it starts to bolt in it. And Little Lone Prepper is in the house. Woohoo! And did I give... Okay, hang on. I need to throw out some wrenches out here. Walter should have a wrench. Come on. Allow me. What's going on? There it goes. Add moderator, standard moderator. And Vase Place, add moderator, standard moderator. Okay. And I think, okay, we should now be Smurf. Oh, Rebel Canners lost your wrench. Add a moderator. YouTube, this is the second or third time I've given Rebel Canners a moderator wrench. So we should have nothing but Smurfs here now. Wait, Dioris. Okay. Yeah, the YouTube is canceling people's moderatorships. So, and guys, feel free to put the link to your own channel up there so everyone else can connect as well. All right. Let's see what I missed while I was doing that. Lettuce stuff. Okay, I got that one. No, please go. Poo. All right, chicken poop. The chicken coop was a great addition for Glenn How to Garden. Yeah, I watched him when he built that one. It's a pretty cool one. And let's see, I'm gonna get back down to the beginning. Yeah. So for your survival garden, some things to think about. First, A, plant what you eat first. A couple of things that I forgot. Even your plants, if you have space, and way to do it if you don't have space. All right, beans, peas, and stuff, and ones like that you can train up. If you're in a small garden area or alongside the house, you can train those up. And so instead of doing bush beans, do pole beans. Same thing with the peas. You get the peas to grow up, and it does two things. If you get them going up early enough that when summer heats out, they're already up the side of the house, so they help cool off the side of the house. And two, then you're getting more food per square foot of your ground for your garden. Okay, I'm trying to think. Was it I think it was last year, and she can come correct me if I get it wrong. My wife was when she was having to work when they were working from home, teleworking. She had her desk set up in the living room facing out to the front yard. Well, the front yard is not grass; it's all garden. And she had some a couple of I picked them up from when Home Base went out. They're 4 foot by 8 foot panel wire things, and she had them set up there and something going across the top. And so she had peas growing up over there, and she'd see, oh, I got peas. Go out, pick a bunch, come back in, sit down. Oh, more peas are out there. All right, yeah, vertical garden and container garden. Green stock, yes. We have a green stock too, and that helps out too. Actually, my wife has 2 green stocks. She got the one with the, it was on sale, so she got a 2-pack where it had the one with the big, I'm not sure if you guys can hear me when it froze, the big taller containers and the shorter ones. So we kind of mixed match. We put out of the 4 big ones, we put 2 on each pile on the bottom. We'll put smaller ones on top. But if you're stuck in suburbia where you got a small area to grow, you don't have to have everything in grass. Unless, if you're in a homeowners association, you got to do it in the backyard where nobody can see it. And you go ahead and figure out what's going to give you the biggest bang per square inch. And there are some charts out there. You can look up charts and stuff, and like square foot gardens. There are plenty of videos on square foot gardens, and you can use that as part of your blueprint for a survival garden. Oh, Suburban just bought 4 green stalks. You go. Oh, so you've grown potatoes in the green stalks in the bigger bases. Cool. And that's the thing too. You don't have to grow the big monster potatoes, the big baking potatoes. You can go grow the smaller Yukon Golds and the smaller the red potatoes and stuff. And there are other potatoes which will help protect your potatoes if someone finds and starts digging for them. There are purple potatoes, there are yellow potatoes, there are white potatoes, there are blue potatoes, there are red potatoes. Just about any color you can imagine, there are potatoes. And so if you get the, hey, Moon over Miami, Prepper 101 is in the house, folks. Just put together my yard bird poultry feeder, plan to put it at use tomorrow. Cool. So with the potatoes, you go for some of the other color ones. Some people are swearing that like the purple potatoes swear they taste better than the others. And others say, oh, the blue ones taste the best. Okay. So you got these other ones so that when they dig it, they go, oh, I got a potato to cut into it. They go, or they cut one by accident, look at it and see what it was. And they go, oh, it's purple. I don't want that. They're going to leave your stuff alone because that person's going to realize, oh, he's got purple potatoes. Those things are, I don't trust those. Hello. Okay, there we go. Check down. Make sure I'm not missing anybody coming in here. All right. So when you're thinking about your garden, think about all the places you can plant. Now, Howie is a big proponent of the Jerusalem artichoke, aka sunchoke. When you think artichoke, no, it's not up above the ground. This is a root crop, and he plants it under his trees. So after the trees are established, he plants it all around the tree, and so it grows and gives kind of like a ground cover around underneath the tree, and it does fine in the shade. And it's one of those ones that if you plant it in an area where it's not contained at all, it's going to go wild on you. So you need to try to contain it a little bit in an area so it doesn't get it doesn't overrun your garden. But he says you can take the Jerusalem artichoke, and when it gets to a certain point, you can cut the top off, like mow over the top, and that way, if people are out there looking to steal from your survival garden, they see there's nothing. They think there's nothing planted there, but it's a root crop, and it overwinters and stuff there on Victoria Island up there in Canada. Yes, what plants grow in the shade, and they do more guerrilla gardening that way. In fact, Uncle Al, do you remember when we did that one on growing without sunlight? I think that was the name of the live stream. And it's on one of the channels here. Actually, give me 1 second. I'll tell you about that. Hang on here. Content. Grow with nope, it's not there. It's probably over on the other channel then. Okay, so let me check Gray Man. Check Camp Patton content. Grow. Vegetables you can grow without light on Camp Patton Family Compound. And that's video number 293. And so that was back in August of 2020. There we go. Drop that back down so I get my comments here back up. There we go. Yeah. Hey, actually, Joe. Actually, it was 3 years ago, Al. I mean, time flies when you're having fun. And again, build your soil. Very important when you get good soil. The thing growing becomes easier. So, if you want to learn about hugelkultur, permaculture, Howieculture, food forest permaculture, that's Howie's channel. If somebody out there could drop the link to Howie's channel, I'd appreciate it. For those that don't know about it, can go over there and check him out. I mean, he's been harvesting stuff all over. He does guerrilla gardening. He does go on a grand scale. I mean, he has food forests set up all over Vancouver Island. He goes hiking a trail and he starts planting stuff everywhere. And so he's always harvesting stuff and taking it down to the food bank. Yes, very good point, Vay. People should think about animals they can grow for food in small places. There are a couple of people that do the in their apartments grow. Just lost the name of the small bird. And speak of him, here he is, the man, the myth, the legend. It's Howie from Food Forest Permaculture.
Good evening, Gil. Sorry I'm late. Festivities here on my birthday.
Hey, happy birthday! Woo! Happy birthday to Howie.
Can't sing. You'll get dinged on that one. Hey, Howie. So like Vay was saying is that animals you can grow indoors, rabbits, guinea pigs, and South America guinea pig is popular for food.
Yeah. Yeah.
And quail.
Quail is really good.
Yeah, people grow quails in their apartment. And everybody's saying happy birthday in the inside chat there for you. And
thank you kindly.
And the sorry, I'm having a brain fart here, folks. Sorry, but there's some other type rodent type that you can grow for food as well.
Bunnies is the easiest and
yeah,
the most.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go over to do a short video on my daughter's setup now. She's got 5 rabbit cages in their living room.
Nice fertilizer.
Yeah, and of course then they have all the chickens outside. And if you go on to try chickens in suburbia and there's ordinances against roosters crowing, there are certain bird roosters that don't crow. There are breeds where the roosters don't crow. So if you have that type, nobody's really going to know unless they're climbing up and looking over your fence. You know, playing Gilroy was here, looking around. I want to see how many people got that joke.
I went to look for my another spring along this old railway bed today, and I can't find it. And what I did end up finding were pear trees and apple trees loaded, growing wild. So I took some videos of that, and I went to a powwow today. But I was thinking about, survival garden is, if you don't have one, a meat locker will do.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, if you don't have one. But Hugo Mounds, I noticed you had that there, and that's the fastest, easiest way. If the Hugo Mound is built on top of a slough type area, that's okay too. You put wood rounds on deciduous wood. But if there's none there, you can dig into the ground and put the rounds in there as well, and then put your layers.
Let me bring that picture back up here. So that was the thumbnail for the live, and there's the Hugo culture, and it's got the little plaque there showing how it works. And you look down at the bottom below garden there, and you see where they did dig down a little bit and buried a little bit down into the ground, and they started building up.
Yep, I see that. That's exactly what you do. It's easier when it's higher up. It's like a raised bed like that.
Yeah, I noticed they put garden jute over this one.
Yeah.
And so it's holding soil and everything together there up high.
Any biomass will make one of those. And that's the oldest pre-industrial agriculture known to man is Hugo Mounds. They're the oldest. There is no other that's older. But making soil, that's where it's at. If you're going to do a survival garden, you got to have good soil. Leaves are your best friend.
Okay. Got a couple points here from Shawnee. We talk about salt sources and survival in land locations. Is it true that hickory roots can be boiled to create salt?
Don't know.
I haven't heard that one before.
I know birch wood can be burnt, like that white ash. That's salt.
Okay.
And then ocean water boiled down is
exactly
that way.
Yeah. Or if you're in Nevada or Utah on 80, you just go off the highway there with the flat, nothing's growing out there. That's salt.
There's salt ponds all over the northern Sonoran Desert.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider. Yeah, I answered this question here. Sorry, Howie. I'll go back to you in a second here. I would not consider salt a crop, but I would consider it a barter item if you have some place where you can mine it. All right, you were saying, Howie?
Oh, the salt mining was used in making saltpeter during the war effort. It's that's what they skimmied off the salt ponds in the Sonoran Desert for and sold it during World War I. It wasn't for food, but now it's a big place to go and soak in the mud. But the big thing is, if you're boiling down or collecting that salt, it does it automatically, like in nature, it just makes a film near shore. You just break off a chunk. You look around on Google where there's salt ponds where you are. I bet you'd find some.
Yeah. And Star Homestead India has joined us.
Revent. Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah. He goes, boo, permaculture.
Yeah, that's when I first met him. I used to joke around. I would go boo, and he didn't know what it meant. It was just like you say hello, like surprisingly, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't have a survival garden strategy, then a meat locker's for you.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's the thing. If you're doing the hunting and you have the meat locker, the thing to do is start looking around and see who has a survival garden and trade.
Exactly, for sure. That's going to happen. It's buy, barter, trade, sell, give, share. There's going to be a whole different ball game on what's currency, and I think the biggest currency will be protein. Fish, meat, that kind of thing, because it's going to be nothing shipped in, so you're going to have to provide that. So,
one of the things I think goes along with this that we haven't touched on yet, really, is for all the vegetables and stuff. With the peas, the beans, and a lot of stuff, you dry them and stuff. The nuts and stuff, you dry them and stuff. But like the beans and peas and stuff, you can still can those in jars and preserve them that way as well. And you can actually, like Tammy would say, go ahead and make your beef stew, so it's ready to go, and you have that in your jar. So think about this: how many jars do you need to have a year and a half worth of food?
400, 450,000 jars if you're really hungry.
Well, you figure this way here: 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
365 days a year, 2 jars per meal. Because you're not going to have, because you're going to mix and match stuff.
You're going to need a lot.
They all don't have to be quarts. They can be a bunch of pint ones to do that too.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
All right. I'm going to mispronounce it. I'm sorry, Patriot.
America Silver, Patriot.
America Silver. Okay. Thank you, Howie. Welcome.
Walter Davis is here too.
Yep, Walter's been in here. I gave Walter his wrench.
Oh, nice. A good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
the big
Anna
thing
froze.
The big thing about survival garden is you save your seed to plant the survival garden. That's kind of key.
Yeah.
And leaves are your new fresh up, like 2 feet of leaves will go down to like 1 inch of good rich black soil in the spring. That's what you want. That's what you want to plant in, that rich black soil. You don't want to try to grow something in a deficient soil. You want the best.
Yeah. And one of the things to consider is the pH of the dirt below the soil.
Well,
if it's really like here, the dirt here, the potatoes love it. I did soil test on it, and the soil tester goes from 2 to 8.
Yeah.
Okay. 7 is neutral, and the pH goes up to 14. Yeah. And this thing went beyond the green, dark, almost black. So I'm not sure how it is, but that's how alkali the soil here is. I can pour vinegar on the soil and it starts bubbling.
Sure would. Yes, that's yeah. That's like you're just throwing it on baking soda.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things you guys have to figure out is what it is. Now, if you have acidic soil, alkali soil, something that helps it is pine needles.
Yep. And peat moss and pine chips, shavings, sawdust, anything like that. Now that you're right. You need to make a buffer there if it's like that. But when you start making layers and layers, it gives a big buffer there. I noticed it before, but clay soil was the most difficult that I was involved with a food forest on the West Coast at a relative's place. And if you look at one of my videos there on the old food forest there, now it's 5 years old, but it took a lot of work to get it to where it is, where you have vines in the trees, grapes, kiwis, and passion fruit. You want that in the trees. You don't want to be building arbors. You don't want it's just going to run in the tree. So you only get 50% of the fruit, but still you get another 50% of grape or kiwi at a different time of the year that ripens later on when it's cold.
Mhm.
You have to think succession crops. Something that's always coming in is a chicken egg. So for myself, if and when it gets down to the nitty gritty, I'm going to have a few chickens. And Wild Edibles made mounds out of all the manure in the cattle barns and the horses and pigs. And she made mounds. And you should see the size of the Hubbard squash this lady grew without much effort.
Yeah.
And it's just a mound, a giant mound. And squash love a giant mound. Direct sow May 24th weekend. Just sow. Be a little Boy Scout when you do it.
Yeah. Um, One of the things back when I was a kid, we can my grandmother and my mom would can all the blackberry jam and stuff like that, and and my grandmother would can vegetables and stuff. The lids back then, by both Ball and Kerr, but Kerr especially, you could if you were careful and you were able to remove the lid without tweaking it at all, you could reuse it easily. And they would reuse the lids for the vegetables. Do the vegetables, reuse it a second year for the vegetables, and thereafter use it on the jam. Because if it didn't hold on the jam, no big deal. Wax, like you said, wax. You can put the wax in it.
Yeah, a lot of your preserving of foods can be you can put like blueberries inside a container of water and make sure all the blueberries are underwater. They'll stay fresh for a couple months like that.
Yeah.
And there's other ways of drying your berries by the fire, making cakes with your excess berries and drying it by the fire
Mhm.
on a rock, and you're constantly doing that during berry season. There's so many ways to up your amount of food that you're going to need and require.
Yeah.
If you just look at it with common sense instead of looking at it as, oh my God, I've got nothing tomorrow. There's going to be, when there's lots of food about, that's when you become industrious and start canning and drying and making cakes any way you can.
Yeah. All right, Shawnee. I don't know much about nettles other than the fact that the the star thistle we have around here is considered part of the nettle family, I guess, but it is such that unless you're wearing 2 pairs of welding gloves, you don't want to go messing with it. It's like picking up a porcupine of hypodermic needles. I'm not sure how much you get from a nettle plant that is food wise for survival, whereas like with I know berries, blackberries can tear you up pretty bad, but you also get a lot of fruit off of blackberries. So
Stinging nettles has protein.
Yeah.
And it's a superfood.
Okay.
But it tastes like swamp water, man. It's called Urtica dioica. It's the Latin name for it.
Yeah.
And there's 2 kinds. There's a Canadiana one, and then there's an American one, or
Yeah.
people think it was introduced from Europe. But stinging nettles is what you get in the spring for a cleanse. It cleanses your liver, and it cleanses you, and it slows down oxidative damage on your cells. it's an antioxidant. That's what antioxidants do. And that's where you get it. The first one in the spring, and then it's the rhubarb that does that. You know, you're if you're going to live in the outside, you're going to need to know to clean up after winter. Your sluggish winter, you're eating dried foods, and there's not a lot of proteolytic enzymes or any enzymes in it because it's been processed. So until you see fresh food, you're going to be eating food that takes a lot of cleaning. And when you go through 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months of that, it can build up a lot of toxicity.
All right. The next one here, so we got. Silver Patriot is getting to move into their tiny off-grid house and start composting toilet for the first time.
Hey, I've got one coming.
Yeah. And so the composting toilet, when it's properly done, can be used for fertilizer.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Oh yeah, everything's in layers. When you pee in the compost like that, human manure, when you pee in there, you throw a little bit of peat moss in there. Then that covers it right up. There's no microbes that could live in that peat moss. It's too acidic.
Yeah.
So that's why the people use like sawdust, like conifer tree that's very acidic, like pines, right?
Pine and cedar and stuff. Cedar especially.
Well, cedar is very volatile for a couple of years, but.
Yeah.
But you just need to cover things up with a little bit of lime if you're going past waste with you're sitting down kind of passing waste, right? And but you just think of it as a nutrient package, like after SHTF and your secret survival garden and your way of getting the nutrients there. I don't care if you're growing hydroponically. At least you have some hydroponic supplies and you're growing food. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's who's eating.
So Vay says that a friend has a food forest in a city lot.
Yeah.
And the channel is Sow and Tear. And there's the link for it.
Oh, nice. I'll have to go back and check into that. I like that. Urban food forest is a way to go. It's you have to plant trees. So nut trees are number one. Get 2 or 3 different kinds of nuts growing all around and put your vines into it. It's important to put your vines into the trees because it puts them out of the way. And not only that, I tie a line onto a tree branch, put it down, peg it and stake it on the ground. And that's on the mound where I put my squash. And I have squash all through the trees here. It's fun to go pick them. And they're beautiful, clean, and the mice haven't got to them. And so you're smarter than mice and deer. And that's the big thing about survival gardens. You got to be smarter than the 2-legged kind of people,
Yeah, the problem is, so stuff up in the trees, then you got to worry about the squirrels. Of course, then some people say squirrel meat's pretty good.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about squirrels. I haven't worried about squirrels. And if you do, just take a mouse trap and put a screw in it and put it right into the tree, put a little bit of something on it like peanut butter. He'll come over and he'll eat that peanut butter and bang, now you got a lot of protein for dinner.
Yeah.
It's up to you how you want to live. But after SHTF, you're going to try to not do too much work and try to limit using up any of your stored goods. Use your fresh food first.
Yeah. Speaking of lids, again, going back to lids here real quick, since Walter brought it up here. Yes, the old ones last forever and ever. And actually, my mom canned. I'm going to show you. Okay, there we go. My mom canned half-gallon jars of pears in 70 or 71. In 85, we were still eating those canned pears. They were good. Cases of them got hidden when we moved, because we moved a couple times. Got hidden in the back of the thing. We forgot they were in there. Oh, we got pears here, and they looked great. They were still good, yummy. Yeah. But as far as lids go, Tatler has the reusable. And basically, it's instead of the metal, it's plastic, and the gasket goes on there. So you can just buy the gaskets a lot cheaper. But the gaskets can be reused and reused and reused and reused until they fail. and then you just put a new gasket on that lid.
Yep. Yeah. I have some of those, and I still use them too.
Yeah.
I have well over 1,000 different jars. Some of them full, some of them not.
Yeah, most animals don't like marigolds for some reason.
No,
and even the gophers and voles don't like them either.
No.
And burdock root, and burdock root is also good for bleeding wounds. It helps clot wounds.
I knew they made a nice toothbrush.
Yeah. But yeah, that takes a bit of extra training that we don't have here. So, this is not medical. This is not medical advice, but this is what's out there. This is what's out there, so you can look it up yourself.
Toothbrush.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. Okay, I'm back down to the bottom here. It just jumped on me.
Shiny.
Oh, there we go. Nutrients need to be returned to the soil. Yes.
Yep. Always. Think the Mayan technique where they scrape the pond for that water lettuce and they just put it onto the mound. That's the nutrients right there. That's it.
All right, here's the question. I just put cedar mulch around my apple tree. Is it a mistake?
Well, how old is the cedar mulch?
And what's the pH of your soil?
Well, how old is the cedar mulch? That's the priority, because if it's new cedar mulch, it'll burn. If it's 1 year old, it won't burn, but it still needs a little bit of lime on it.
And it's 2 years old?
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect. You want the tannins and the oils, the cedar oils, to come out, okay? And then now the microbes can start doing their work with that, and then spreading the nutrients around to the plants and the trees. That's the ideology with it. Cedar can be used, but it's ideal for blueberries, tomatoes, and raspberries. Okay.
Yes.
Ideal.
And boysenberries.
Acid loving, even strawberries will grow on it, but sunchokes love sawdust.
Yeah.
They love it.
My goal is to pinpoint which type of plant thrives in my zone. Very good, very good. Which type of cabbage, carrot, squash, sunflower? Yeah. In your not only your zone, but your growing days as well. Yeah. Very good, Shawnee. That's the thing, is for a survival garden, the garden's got to survive so you can survive.
Layers. Just think like nature. How is soil made?
Uh-oh. Howie froze. Yes, Howie. He may have lost connectivity out there. I think Howie's doing his outside thing here, where he's going to be trying to spend a month outside. Drying peppers, jalapenos, cayenne, paprika for preserving. I think Tammy already dropped out, but Tammy up there in Michigan, because all the humidity, was drying her peppers in her car. She had them all strung up and was hanging them up inside the cars with the sun hitting the car, heating the car up to help dry out her peppers. Yeah, we lost Howie. He may come back in again. Oh, Tammy's lurking. Yeah, Tammy did a video on drying on doing that. And I froze in her car. Okay, Bay's Place says Yarrow is called Warrior Wart. It's great for wounds. Yeah, I've heard that too. So you need to figure out, there's a lot of municipal. I can't even speak right here, guys. My tongue's tied. Municipal, whatever, medical herbs that you can grow too, which is great for wounds and other things like that. But don't go overboard on those space-wise. You got to be judicious, plan out, and once you have your garden laid out and you're growing in your gardens, if you're growing enough to provide you all the food you need for at least a year, you're doing good. But the problem is, and some people have been talking about this year a lot, is last year they had great gardens. I know Dustin and Courtney were talking about that. They went great. And this year, And some other people were talking about it too. And they were saying they have cycles. A couple of years, you'll have a couple of good years, then you'll have a bad year. Then you'll have a couple of good years, and you'll have a bad year. So you got to be able to grow enough and to store and can enough to carry you over that bad year. Ceiling hooks too. Yeah, it's the ceiling hooks you get for hanging plants and lights and stuff from, and could be used for drying your stuff too. Okay, question here: decorative yarrow that you buy in the store, or wild yarrow? Which one's? I'm not sure on that. And they just stepped out. So what you can do is do a simple Google on that. Ask the question: which yarrow is warrior wort, and it's good for wounds? And Rebel says wild, right there, wild. So the answer to that is wild. All right. So I hope everybody's getting stuff here, and I hope everybody remembered their notebooks. All righty. All right. So coming up here, let me get let me pull the schedule up on the other computer here. All right. So, all right. So Monday is on Camp Patton Family Compound. The topic for the Monday Night Fireside Chat is sugar, a necessary evil. Now, interesting about that. I've been talking about this for a while about that one coming up here. And actually, it was supposed to be later, but I bumped it up here specifically for this week. The Dr. Berg put out a video today on sugar, and so if you're not subscribed to Dr. Berg, it's Dr. Eric Berg. Go over, check out his channel for today, for the video that came out today on sugar. You'll find it very informative and much enlightening on that. Hey, the Romer Prepper, how's it going? Welcome. Yeah, my dad was raised down in Southern California, down there in Riverside in Indio, and they had a lot of date plants down there, date trees. And so people would, have date trees in their yards, and they'd be harvesting the dates and spreading them out on their roofs to dry as well. Catch up the comment. Everyone's saying hi. Share it out. Thank you, Roman Prepper. All right. Points I wanted to make sure on, or re-go over, because I know a lot of people came in since I started off. Actually, let me do it this way here. So we're going to do a quick refresh here and get this out of the way here. So what is a survival garden? It's a garden that will help you survive year to year entirely on it. Come on. Okay. Where can you... I forgot the H. Yes, I forgot the H in there. Where can you grow one? anywhere you can do so. You can do guerrilla gardening in the city parks and the county trails, state parks, plant stuff off the trails and that. Fruit and nut trees. That's probably one of the first things you want to plant because it takes longer for them to grow. If you're in suburbia and you have shade trees, you might want to consider taking a shade tree out and putting in fruit and nut trees. And root crops. Root crops are more resilient to temperature changes. And some root crops, like carrots, love to winter over. And they come back sweeter and better tasting. And Courtney's done this a couple times, and she talks about that, about root crops and that. And Prairie Rider is in the house. The Queen of the North is here. And there's a whole, root crops. You don't just think potatoes or sweet potatoes or yams, radishes, small red radishes, the big white radishes, the daikon radishes, turnips, beets, carrots. I mentioned carrots, and the Jerusalem artichoke, aka sunchokes. There are a bunch of root crops you can plant. And when you're talking potatoes, there are a bunch of varieties besides the white potato or the Yukon Gold. There are purple, blue, green, red. There are a bunch of potatoes out there, and some of them are pretty good. Oh, parsnips. Thank you, Tammy. Parsnips. And let's see here. And mass producers. Things that produce, they'll give you a lot of stuff quickly. First thing that comes to my mind, zucchinis. Zucchinis produce and produce and produce and produce. Apple trees. You get an apple tree going. Once an apple tree is well established, it produces and produces and produces. So, but it takes years for it to get to that stage. And in your climate, don't forget citrus trees. If you're able to grow them in your climate. Planted purple potatoes this year, so great. Okay, yeah. And that's the last of that. So when you're planning your survival garden, don't limit yourself to, what grows above the ground in my planter box, in my pots, or whatever else. What other plants that are edibles can you grow? There are a lot of them, and we've covered a lot. And one of the things that Howie mentioned and I didn't mention were vining ones, such as the vine. I talked a little bit about berries, but you got berries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, boysenberries. Then you have grapes, and there's a whole bunch of varieties of grapes. And and Howie was saying about taking like the some of the squash and training it up into a tree. So, and that way you're doing vertical gardening, and it's up in the tree. And how he was talking about the other day, he was up in a tree harvesting, and people were walking by, and they never saw him. He's looking down at them. They're walking by, and they never saw him until he said something. And Uncle Al throws out rutabagas. Yeah, there's one. And I mentioned before about my fall garden, what I got planning for those that are here in the beginning. I went and got the package of seed this time for it. And it is that's what I got growing out there with the next to the lettuce and stuff. And at first I thought it was a weed, even though I sprouted these in the indoors, and when I planted them, I put a little stick next to it, and they were all growing up right in a row, but it grew flat, and I thought, oh man, it's a weed. But and then yesterday, after it grew out about that big around, all of a sudden it starts going up in the center. It starts going, so it's got this other all the leaves going out, trapping moisture and everything, and getting energy while it sends down its roots and stuff, and now it's going. And so we got to be able to harvest this here. And hang on, I got to do this again for you guys because it's wiping out. There, now you can see what it looks like, and that's what it looks like. Is no longer doing the flat weedy looking like thing. All right, and what do we got here? Howie did pumpkins too. Yeah. They grow great in colder weather than blueberries. They taste like a mixture of blueberry and blackberry. Cool. And I'll make sure I'm not missing all the comments here. All right, Mary Beth, have a good night. I'm getting ready to wrap it up here in a couple minutes too. Planted her sunflowers late last fall, and they were up mid-summer producing seeds already. Okay. And Tammy says Seminole pumpkins can store 1 year or more after they've been picked and hardened off. And I know my daughter did, I'm trying to remember, it was butternut or whatever type, squash. And I think they lasted over a year in her basement. Peanuts, not really a root crop though. Yeah, because they are legumes. So, but they, they grow down. So they're off the roots. They're a pod off the root legume type thing. All right. Nate Mitch. Hey, how's it going, Nate? Swiss chard lettuce for turnaround time. Yes. And my black, not black, sorry. The seeds are black. I keep thinking the Grand Rapids lettuce. One plant, once it's up and it's growing, is more than enough for me. And if you have like 20 of those planted out there and they grow fast and they're producing, you now have stuff to trade with somebody else. Spinach is one that you can you can process and can. Swiss chard you can can, collards, cabbage, all that stuff you can and keep it for times when you winter times and stuff like that. All righty. Very cold hardy lettuce, no greenhouse needed. That Grand Rapids lettuce. And what's funny is, not this last year during the polar vortex, but the year before, some of the Grand Rapids lettuce out there in the snow stayed green till the spring. And then once spring came along, then it dropped all its seeds and the new stuff came up. Yeah, sauerkraut. There you go. Make sauerkraut for stuff too. All right. The name of the pumpkins. Just a second. Let me scroll back up here. And it began with an S, and it was Seminole. There we go. Seminole pumpkins. All right, and back down here. Yeah, lettuce you can powder it and do stuff for it. All right, so coming up here, Monday on Camp Patton Family Compound is Sugar and Necessary Evil. Back here on Gray Man Prepping for Tuesday, Technical Tuesday, the topic is prepping is a marathon, not a okay. Thank you, Doris. Woohoo! Prepping is a marathon, not a sprint. Thursday night, starting all my live streams start at 10 o'clock Eastern, except for Thursday. Thursday night starts at midnight or 11:55 Thursday night for the midnight ride. For next Friday, Next Friday, I haven't picked the topic yet, and so give me a couple more days. I got a bunch of them here. I'm shifting things around, and I want to pull one up that'll be appropriate here for this time. All right, so that's what's coming up here. I want to thank Howie for coming up here on his birthday, and he's doing his outdoor camping thing for a month, seeing if he can live outdoors. I know Garden Girl has not had to resow the red charge since 2017. They just keep reseeding themselves. Yeah. My wife has had some of the chard do the same thing. It doesn't catch the seeds, and of course her sunflowers. The squirrels take care of reseeding that for her. They get up there and grab one of the things, they take it off and they start chewing it. They run along the fence, and all of a sudden, in the neighbor's yard, all these sunflowers are coming up. All righty, folks. We're going to wrap it up here now, and just want a couple points here to point out. A, stay happy no matter what life throws at you. B, stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish. C, keep adding to your preps. Make your situation better. So adding to your preps, water. You need water. Food, medicines, clothing, and skills. Learn a new skill, whether it's raising rabbits, whether it's raising quail, whether it's raising chickens. Learn a new skill. All right? Take care, and I will see you Monday on Camp Pet and Family Compound.